Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We're going to start off with clashes that have taken place in Rajasthan's Jodhpur. Hours after clashes broke out between members of two communities, a curfew has now been imposed in parts of Rajasthan, Jodhpur. Now, clashes broke out over hoisting and removing a flag on a freedom fighter statue in Jodhpur's Jalori Gate area late on Monday night, which then escalated into stone pelting and led to a few policemen getting injured as well. According to the police, clashes first started late on Monday night over some flags that were put up on the occasion of Parshuram Jayanti, which is on the same day as Eid. After a meeting held by the Chief Minister of the state, senior officials of the Rajasthan government, including Additional Chief Secretary Home, ADGP Law and Order, and MOS Home, were sent to Jodhpur as well. Now, internet services, we understand, have also been suspended in the district. The last few weeks, we've seen clashes erupt in several parts of the country in at least 5 states: Delhi, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, and West Bengal, as India observed Ram Navami, Hanuman Jayanti, and Ramadan. In the meantime, in Madhya Pradesh, the Khargone administration has decided not to relax curfew on the occasion of Eid, weeks after the town saw communal clashes on Ram Navami processions on the 10th of April. Various parts of Khargone has in fact been under curfew since that day, when communal clashes broke out during that procession. Several houses were set on fire and more than 24 people, including the superintendent of police, were injured in the clashes. Moving away from the story now to the state of Maharashtra, an FIR, we understand, has now been registered against MNS chief Raj Thackeray and Rajiv Javalikar, the organizer of the Aurangabad rally, for allegedly violating the terms and conditions imposed by the police while granting permission for the rally. Now, Raj Thackeray had held a massive rally in Aurangabad wherein he delivered a provocative speech ahead of Eid, demanding the removal of loudspeakers from mosques by the 3rd of May. So he'd given a deadline till the 4th of May. And speaking at that rally, he had said that, and he reiterated the May 3rd deadline for removal of loudspeakers. He had also said that all Hindus should play the Hanuman Chalisa outside mosques from the 4th of May if loudspeakers were not removed. Also, an important story coming in. According to the 2022 World Press Freedom Index published by Reporters Without Borders, India's ranking in the World Press Freedom Index has now gone down from 142 in 2021 to 150 this year out of 180 countries. Now, in 2016, India had ranked 133 out of 180 countries. India's rank this year was the highest in terms of the legislative indicator and was the lowest in terms of the security indicator. Now, the country had an overall score of 41 compared to 53.44 last year. Now, Reporters Without Borders also cited violence against journalists, the politically partisan media, and the concentration of media ownership to state that press freedom is in crisis in India. Moving on to news about heatwave. Now, the IMD has said that April this year ended as the 3rd warmest in India in 122 years. Now, this comes after March had remained the warmest over the same period. Now, frequent heat waves scorched northwest and central India, with temperatures reaching up to 47 degrees Celsius in Uttar Pradesh's Agra and Prayagraj in April. Temperatures in West Rajasthan, West Madhya Pradesh, and Vidarbha region in Maharashtra also went over the 45 degrees Celsius mark. Now, the IMD on Monday, however, went on to say, and I quote, "Fall in maximum temperatures by 3 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius is very likely over west parts of northwest India and central India during the next 3 days and then rise thereafter." So there's a bit of a relief, at least for the next couple of days, according to the IMD. To know more about how heatwave impacts children, we've done a conversation with a pediatrician that's up on our YouTube channel. Do take a look at it and tell us what you think. And if you want more such conversations as well, do share and like, subscribe this video as well. Tell your friends that we put out a news bulletin every single day and we only cover news without opinion. Also, news coming in from Madhya Pradesh. Two tribal men were beaten to death on suspicion of cow slaughter in Madhya Pradesh's Yoni district. Another was left injured. Now, the complainant Brajesh Patti, who was injured in the attack, said that the mob brutally thrashed the two tribals with sticks, and when he went there, he too was beaten up. Now, the police has said that a group of 20 men went to the home of the tribals and accused them of cow slaughter. The police has so far said 20 people have been charged, 6 of them with murder. On to COVID news coming in from the country. Now, the country's first case of XC variant has now been confirmed by the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Genomics Sequencing Consortium, which is also known as INSACOG, which is a network of national testing laboratories set up by the government. Now, according to the Indian Express, experts have however said that there is no evidence to suggest that a COVID infection from the XE subvariant is different from those caused by other Omicron sublineages. Now, earlier, we had heard of reports that there were 2 unconfirmed cases that were reported of the XE variant from Maharashtra and Gujarat. But there was no official confirmation, however, on where this XE sample was obtained from. This is according to the Indian Express. Also in the news, the Supreme Court on Monday directed the National Commission for Protection of Child's Rights to submit a response on the suggestions made by the amicus curiae with respect to the children who have dropped out of schools because of the adverse effects of the pandemic. The Apex Court also sought response from state governments regarding their course of action to ensure that the education of such children can continue without any future hindrance. Now, the court's directions came after the amicus curiae, who offers an impartial advice to the court in a particular case, gave a list of suggestions. On to business news right now, and this is data coming in from the Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy, which has said that the unemployment rate in India has risen to 7.83% in April from 7.57% in March. Now, unemployment hit urban areas more than rural areas. While the rate of unemployment in the country's urban areas was at 9.22% in April, it was recorded at 7.18% in rural regions for the same month. Now, the data also showed that unemployment rate in April was the highest in Haryana at 34.5%. This was followed by Rajasthan at 28.8%, post which it was Bihar and Jammu and Kashmir. On to international news. We'll give you an update on Ukraine crisis. It is day 69 in Ukraine, where Russia has invaded Ukraine. And most of the news is really coming out from Mariupol, which is one of the worst affected in Ukraine. About 101 people have been successfully evacuated from Mariupol steel plant, and this is according to the UN humanitarian official who has confirmed this and was reported by BBC News. Now, the International Committee of the Red Cross, also involved in the Safe Passage operation, has also confirmed the same, although the statement said that among them were some wounded. Now, the mayor of Mariupol, however, has said that 200 civilians still remain trapped inside the steel plant along with fighters, and there will be more evacuations needed to get them out of that steel plant. Also, there's also a remark that came in from Prime Minister Modi in Germany on Monday. Although the stance was mostly neutral, as India has maintained till now, Prime Minister Modi said no country can emerge victorious in the Ukraine conflict. He underlined that India supports peace and made an appeal to end the war. In the meantime, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said on Monday that he and Prime Minister Narendra Modi agreed that borders should not be changed through the use of violence, and inviolability as well as the sovereignty of nations has to be universally accepted. Also, an update coming in from Sri Lanka. The Union Ministry of External Affairs has accepted Tamil Nadu's proposal to send humanitarian assistance to Sri Lanka. The centre's letter has said that the aid to be sent by Tamil Nadu will be shared with the Sri Lankan government and distributed appropriately in the current circumstances as well. Sri Lanka is going through its worst ever economic crisis in the last couple of months. In the meantime, the High Commission on Tuesday said that India has committed more than $3 billion in debt-ridden Sri Lanka in loans, credit lines, and credit swaps since January this year. On Monday, India had extended credit by a further $200 million to replenish Sri Lanka's rapidly depleting fuel stock as well. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.